Welcome to Next Play. Welcome back to Next Play, guys. Today we have Noelle Lambert. Did I say your name correctly? I always mess it up somehow. All good?
No,
Yeah.
you're good. Yeah.
Paralympian and former D1 lacrosse stud. So, Noelle, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So I just want our listeners to know a little bit about your amazing accomplishments. I'm told to read these quick because no guest likes when I do them. But as Owen said, you were a D1 lacrosse post-amputation. So that happened your freshman year, which we'll talk about, and then came back 2 years later. Paralympian, competed in the Tokyo Paralympics, founded a nonprofit supporting adaptive athletes. Super cool. National speaker, advocate for resilience and confidence. You're featured on Survivor season 43. Super interested to hear about that.
Yeah.
And obviously elite level competitor in both team sport and individual sports settings. So again, thanks for coming on. Owen, I'll let you kick off with the first question and talk about the mental side of the game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's what the podcast is about. We talk about the mental stuff. You know, was mindset something that you were, focused on prior to the accident?
Yeah, absolutely not. I never really understood what, mental health was and focusing on your mental health until my junior year of college. It wasn't because I was just young, naive, I was stubborn. I was that stubborn athlete. I was a competitor. I loved playing in games, but I hated practice. And so I was, I always say I needed this accident to happen to me because I needed to kind of grow up, and I needed to deal with some adversity to realize and understand what hard work was. And the person that actually taught me, how important mental health is, and especially if you are playing sports, how it can be a pivotal part of your athletic career, is my assistant coach, Carly O'Connell. She was the one from the beginning, just teaching me early on, like, if you're not mentally there, if you're mentally checked out, then this is a huge waste of time. And her and I think my head coach had the agreement of, we needed to get that locked down before they were going to give me any playing time, because I needed to be able to adapt, especially with failure, because I knew that was going to be a huge part of returning to play Division I lacrosse as above the knee amputee. I was going to fail hundreds of times before I was going to be able to succeed. And I think just having that mental toughness was something I needed to learn. And she would bring, we would have like individual meetings. We would just have conversations. And she was like the first person that I actually let everything out to. I was always that stubborn person after my accident that never really let anybody in. Besides my mother, I would never cry in front of anybody. I would never really rely on others if I was going through a difficult time. And what I realized along the way is you need to find those one or two people that you can talk to and rely on if you are struggling, because keeping everything bottled up inside is an extremely unhealthy way to deal with anything in your life. And so it's
100%.
just something that I definitely learned after the accident.
Yeah, I heard you talk. A clip that I found about you saying that you had to really lean into other people post-accident, and that was new for you, obviously. Are you speaking of the vulnerability piece when you talk about having to have other people support you, and how that part was hard?
Yeah, I just never wanted the pity, especially becoming an amputee and being disabled. Like I never wanted people to feel sorry for me. And that was just something that I needed to learn. Like, I knew people were going to stare at me. I knew I was always going to get looks. I knew that was something that I needed to learn, but I just always wanted to have that aura around me that I didn't want to let this one accident define the rest of my life. And I kind of wanted, people to be inspired by me, but for me to be able to do that, I need to be able to figure out everything going on in my head and figure out, the things that I was struggling with. And that was, being vulnerable around certain people, my teammates, my coaches. And that's really when it came my junior year, when I actually started playing again, and just giving that 100% trust to other people. That was, obviously something I struggled with. I'm a stubborn person. Like, I want to do everything on my own. Like, I don't want help. But, I realized, I have never gone anywhere on my own, especially after my accident. I've never done anything on my own. All of my accomplishments, I can literally circle it back to, 10 to 20 people that were in my circle at that given time that helped me achieve that goal and that achievement. And I'm huge on that, but it comes with, you know, realizing that people are going to feel sorry for me just on the track. I'll literally have a practice and I'll be by myself and I'll be, you know, doing a stride, and I'll have people walking around on the track, and they automatically feel sorry for me. And I'm standing there saying, you don't need to feel sorry for me. I'm fine. Like, I'm literally breathing.
Yeah.
I'm doing a workout just like you guys are. I'm living my life, because I don't see myself as somebody who's, you know, broken. And
Yeah.
I know that that's the stigma coming along with, you know, being adaptive, being disabled. And, you know, I think we're making the right steps, but I mean,
For
it's
sure.
yeah, I mean, I was with
Dude.
my father, and he was literally, we were at dinner, and someone in a wheelchair passed us, and he was like, "Oh, I feel so bad for him." And I looked at him, I'm like, "Why do you feel sorry for him?" I'm like, "He's just living his life." I'm like, "It's just like me." I mean, people see that about me, like when they see me, and it shouldn't be like that, because we don't view ourselves as that. And
Yeah, I bet. Do kids are like kids different? Like, because I feel like kids, what's so great about them is they're more curious than feeling bad, you know? I don't know if you've
yeah.
experienced that, but they're
Oh
more like,
yeah.
what happened to your leg? You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
I hear it all the time. I hear, "Mom, what happened to her leg?" And like the parents
Yeah.
are like pulling the kids away, and like I welcome that. Like
Right.
I
Right.
love to talk to kids. I let kids touch my prosthetic leg if they want. I always say, you know I look different, but I'm the same as you. I
Yeah,
just
that's
have something
awesome.
different to help me walk. I always joke around with kids. I get it from kids more than anything. I mean, kids are staring at me, and then I'll just stare at them back. And then the parents are always,
I love
because
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get it, because you never know, what my mindset is with my amputation. Like, I understand, like, parents are trying to be respectful, but I mean, I just say let the kids ask their questions, because it's
That's
going
the
to help
best
them
way to
learn, and
go.
it's going to normalize it. So when they see more people that look like me, they won't look at it like a foreign object or like I'm an alien. They'll be like, "Oh, okay, she has a prosthetic."
Yeah, and inspired. Yeah, go ahead though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously played lacrosse, and then, had the injury, came back, and then track. I'm curious, where did the track come from?
When I actually returned playing lacrosse my junior year, someone from the track and field world reached out asking if I've ever thought about pursuing the sport. And I always say, this is a fun fact about me: I hated running. I hated everything to do with running. Hated individual. I mean, it's not like I hated individual sports. I'd never competed in an individual sport before. I was always a part of team sports growing up.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, you know what, this could be an incredible opportunity to represent my country, and to
Yeah.
see if this is something I could make a career out of. And I don't have to become a washed up athlete just yet. I can try to ride this out as long as possible.
Yeah, I've a follow-up to that. Because we talk a lot about the mindset and the mentality. One of the things that, like, we always ask our clients is, like, do you guys do any visualization or breath work and feedback loop? We always want to pick their brains on their mindset. Is the mentality different in an individual sport versus like a team sport? And if so, like, what were the main, differences?
Yeah, I want to say yes, but I haven't competed in a team sport now in years. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see if I would take, the things I've learned in an individual sport back to a team sport, because obviously they can be beneficial.
Yeah.
But from my experience, I will say they are completely different, because,
Yeah.
when you're on a team sport, it's not, you might feel like sometimes the pressure's on you, if like you have the ball in your stick, or you have the ball in your hands for the last second to shoot the game-winning shot. But you have a team that's kind of rallied behind you. And for track and field, it's not that you don't have a team. I mean, I don't view it as much as like, oh my God, it's just me in the moment. Like, I honestly, when I'm stepping on the track, I'm representing my coach, my strength coach, my nutritionist. So I'm just the one that's actually competing, but they're the one putting in the work to help me get to where I am. And I think just the things that I do now is I visualization in track and field is huge. And
Huge. Yeah.
especially, in the long jump, I have to be able to visualize it because I have, a 20 centimeter board that I have to jump off of. And
Yep.
if I am just a little bit over, it's a foul. If I'm a little bit behind, I'm losing a lot of my jump. So I have to be able to replicate every single stride on the runway for it to be exactly the same so that I could get the best jump possible. And how I do
Absolutely.
that is visualization, counting my steps, writing in a journal, focusing on my cues. So different things like that. I would just say track and field is definitely a lot more, you can definitely overthink it a lot more than you can for any of the other sports that I've played in my entire life.
Interesting.
And and I've dealt with the mental struggle on with the track and field, and I've been in the moments where it was my meat to lose, and the mental struggles and the mental
Like
all
in
my
what
mental
way, Noelle?
everything.
Like what do you mean, like specifically?
Yeah. So when I was going into the Tokyo Paralympic Games, it was my first Paralympic Games, and it was probably my fifth time ever competing ever in track and field. So I had zero expectations, and I was just there to enjoy the experience and do the best that I could. But heading into Paris, I was ranked second in the world. I was in medal contention. And so it was a different weight on my shoulders. And it was something that, I wasn't really used to. And I made a lot of rookie mistakes with changing alignment when I got to Paris. For prosthetic legs, they typically tell you not to change anything for a major competition. If it gets you there, do not touch it. But my coach and I were trying to maximize the blade as much as possible so that we could break the world record. And instead, we went in the opposite direction.
Okay.
And so that kind of mentally took a toll. Days leading up to the competition, I mentally was worrying about the wrong thing. I was worrying more so about my prosthetic leg than just worrying
Yeah.
about, what got me there and my cues. And so I made that rookie mistake. And I always view Paris as, another rookie Paralympic Games for me because Tokyo was so different with COVID and everything. But when I was heading into Paris, I'd never competed in an international long jump competition before. I started long jumping 9 months before Paris. And so it was a rookie games for me. And so obviously I could take so much from that experience and bring it. So now that I'm training for LA 2028, I can bring it to that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ma, I feel like this would be a good time for the
Yes, let's do that.
huddle.
And then I have so many questions for her. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. This will be quick. We added a new section just to make it a little more interesting to our audience.
Yeah.
It's just literally a one or the other. So an example, I'll just rattle off a bunch of questions and you'll just whatever comes to mind answer.
Perfect.
We call it No Huddle. So welcome to No Huddle.
Love it. Love
And
it.
we love competitions. So I like to time it and see how many we can get through.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a minute. All right.
Here we go.
Here we go. It's always, I don't think there's any too spicy ones in there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, go.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Coffee or energy drink?
I'm not a caffeine drinker, but I'll just say caffeine drinks.
Okay,
I'll
wow.
say the energy.
All right.
Energy. Yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
I like to go to bed early. I'll just say night owl.
Night owl. All right. Rap or country?
Country.
Country. Track or lacrosse?
I'm going to say track right now because that's the sport.
Okay. Movies or TV shows?
Movies.
TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Lake or ocean?
Lake.
Call or text?
Depends on the person, but text.
Trash talk or silent killer?
Silent killer.
All right, that's all of them.
I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to be a trash talker.
I used to be a trash talker back in
in
my day of high school and college. I used to be a trash talker. Now I'm field and I don't want to say the Paralympic community. I'm friends with a lot of my competitors, from other countries. So I always have fun with them. Don't get me wrong. When we're in the call room, I'm the type of person that I try to talk to people, and like that's how I try to get in their head, especially when they're trying to have a moment. I'm like, no, especially for the 100-meter, because you know, I need anything I can get for the 100. These girls are very fast, so like I'm trying to get in their heads. But I mean, back in the day,
So I guess for the lacrosse days, because we do a lot of like talks with lacrosse teams and stuff like that. Curious how because you kind of alluded to the way you get in the mind of your opponents. So wondering if you can give some elite tips on defeating a team or an opponent mentally.
I think just beating them at their own game and never letting them realize that they're in your head. And just always, if they do something, just never letting it phase you. I think that is always huge. And just kind of acting unbothered, I think is always, you know, a badass kind of aura to give off.
Totally agree.
For an opponent. But you know, back in the day, I would say, you know, celebrate in the most extensive, obnoxious way, just to piss somebody off. I mean, and it's crazy because I think like for women's lacrosse, I think they just changed the rules with like when they slam their sticks down after they score a goal, they don't do that anymore. I literally remember people like winding up their stick and throwing it, and like the ref had to go and grab it. And I always would be like, that's excessive, but like, damn, what a celebration.
They're like, but still, I mean, lacrosse when you played though was still like up and coming, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely getting bigger. I would just say, I mean, it was. I would say the only difference with it right now is that, you know, now it's going to be in the Olympics, so there's just so much. And like all the I mean, not all the rule changes. I mean, they changed the rules like every single year for us as well. Like they would just change things dramatically, and we would just be like, all right, well, how do we have to adapt to this? And I get it, because they want to make it I mean, they want to make women's and men's kind of similar for the Olympic Games. So like when people are watching, they're not confused, because they're two completely different sports in my head. Like it's literally like men's and women's are not the same. But I mean, it makes sense. It's like men's is all about power and, you know, toughness, and women's is all about like the finesse and speed of the game. I always used to say. But
what was your game? Were you like the finesse, or were you back them down?
I was a little bit of both. So before my accident, I played crease. So I always had the ball on my stick. And then after my accident, I played the inside game. So, and I would always like create the space. People would forget about me, and then that's when I would be wide open. And I would love to like set picks. I would love the inside game. That's like, that position was like made for me as an amputee, and I had so much fun. If I like created space and someone scored a goal, like I would take credit for their goal. I would literally be like, 100%. Create a stat for cleared space. It's called CS. Like,
how soon after were you like, I'm coming back? Like I'm playing.
I mean, it was literally like within 2 hours of waking up the next day.
I knew she was gonna say that.
Yeah, it was very early. Just because I knew I had the community behind me. I had my teammates, my coaches, my family, friends. But it was the moment that it really clicked for me was when I met and talked to a lot of the Boston Marathon survivors. And so hearing their stories, everything that they've been through, that's really what snapped it out of me, of feeling sorry for myself. You know, I told myself, nobody did this to me. You know, I did this to myself. And they were the first people to tell me that I would be able to live the life that I wanted. I would just need specialized prosthetics, running blades to do it. And I knew I had I had my coaches and teammates, and that's all I kind of needed. I didn't know how difficult it was going to be. Obviously, you know, I thought it was going to be a walk in the park, but it was the exact opposite of that. You know, when I went in for my everyday prosthetic and got fitted for that, I literally thought I was going to get a running blade that same day, and I was going to be able to return to practice within a week. And I started applying to foundations, and a foundation gifted me with a running blade, but it was like 6 to 9 months after my accident. So I knew playing my sophomore year was out of the question. But I'm honestly grateful for that, because it gave me the opportunity to learn how to walk and be comfortable with walking before I transitioned to running. If that made sense. If that makes sense.
Yeah, not rushing the process, right? Like you had to feel first and get through the mental stuff. So it was probably a gift in some ways, although I'm
Absolutely.
sure anxious at the time. Were you one of the first or the only that played it with the
I was the first above the knee amputee to ever play collegiate lacrosse. I know
that's badass. Yeah, that's
that was, I mean, but listen, the only reason that it's possible is because of my teammates and my coaches. I mean, my coaches were incredible. My assistant coach, Carly, you know, it could have been so easy for them to just like push me to the side, give me like a couple drills to do, like play me on my senior day, like throw me into the game. But they were determined to play me my junior year, get me ready. And so that was awesome. It was just
That's so cool.
I really couldn't have lost my leg at a better time in my life because I had that community. And I always say if it happened before college or after college, it would have been a completely different
story.
Different story.
You know, I ran the Boston Marathon the year before the bombing and then
oh my goodness,
the year after.
Yeah.
And I had a cramp and it was bad. And I was like watching these amputees just crush it. And I'm like, I'm going back out there. So I'm in the med tent and I'm like, if you think I'm not finishing and the year after, you know, so it's so interesting. I've never been more inspired. And I think it's cool that you paved a new path in that sport, you know, in lacrosse as being the first. You certainly won't be the last. And do you feel the weight of that responsibility in a now continuing to do what you're doing, these goals in a good way? Do you feel the goodness of it, the responsibility?
I mean, I always say I put myself in these uncomfortable positions so that I can pave the way for people who you know, have a similar disability as me or people who are going through a difficult time, that they can believe in themselves as well. You know, with it being lacrosse and, you know, with track and field, obviously I wasn't the first person to do it, but I knew that I never competed in track and field in my life. And this could be something that I could do. And then with Survivor, I mean, I didn't want to do Survivor. I was scared to death to do Survivor, but I told myself, this is my chance to show the world what amputees are capable of and what we can do and what we can accomplish. And I didn't even know what that answer was going to be. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do it, but I told myself, you're doing this for the people that believe that they can't, and for the people watching that believe that amputees are people who are broken or people with disabilities are broken. Like this is your chance to kind of show the world what we're capable of.
You have to eat bugs on Survivor.
I didn't eat any bugs. There were a couple people on my season that ate it just for the experience. I mean, I ate coconut. I believe the first 9 days I was out there, the only thing I put in my body was coconut, which was just a crazy experience.
How far did you make it in the show?
I made it pretty far. I made it to the top 8, final 8. I made it 20 days out of 26, 10 episodes out of 13. Yeah, I mean, I was starting to gain momentum at the end and starting to make some moves, and my number 1 voted me off. I mean, I get it. They were smart to do it because I honestly didn't think I was going to make it far at all. I thought people were going to want to vote me off, like first boot, second boot. So to be able to make the jury and make it as far as I did was definitely something I was grateful for. But yeah, if they let me make it to the end, I had a really good shot at winning, especially just because like where I was in the game.
I think you're kind of the definition of mental toughness, but we ask every guest we have on their definition. We put them on the spot. What's your definition of mental toughness?
Yeah, I think my definition of mental toughness is being able to bounce back from adversity, not viewing failure as a reason to quit, using it as a reason to fuel you. I think that's the definition of mental toughness for me, because it's something that I, you know, obviously struggle with every single day in my sport. You tend to fail a lot more than you know, run PRs or jump PRs, and that's okay. You view it as a reason to show up the next day, to prove that you're capable of doing it, because when you do reach that finish line or you do succeed with that one goal, it makes it that much sweeter when you look back on it, and it makes you realize like how much of a badass you are for overcoming that mental toughness that it took to get there.
For sure. We talk about as coaches with our athletes being friends with fear, or as you're saying, friends with failure, because what stops a lot of people is that, you know, they don't want to feel that discomfort over and over again. And not only have you had the physical part, but you've had the mental. And I think it sounds like the physical really spurred your mental growth. Do you have a mantra that you lean into by chance?
Have you guys ever seen that movie Cool Runnings?
Yeah.
The Jamaican bobsled team that went to the
Yes.
Winter Paralympics.
Yes.
Winter
Yes.
Olympics, sorry.
Yeah.
So they
Yes.
have this like mantra that they say to themselves. It's like, feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, get on up, it's bobsled time. So like
Love
the
it.
mantra I use for long jump is literally like, feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, get on up, it's long jump time. And so like I always say that to myself.
That's
I love
But
it.
yeah,
probably one of like the
but
best ones we've had, the coolest ones we've
Yeah,
had.
that's a cool one.
no, I think like the more serious one is, you know, becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I love that that thing you said about fear, you know, allowing it to be your friend.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't know what you're made of if you're not putting yourselves in those scared positions. And I mean, that's really when you learn so much about yourself and what you're capable of. And
Totally.
it opens up so many opportunities when you do that as well, because you realize what you're capable of, and then it just
Yeah.
motivates you going into the next thing as well.
That's
Such good
awesome.
answers. Our last guest, his mantra was "I'm a fucking beast." So
I like that. Listen,
yeah.
that's awesome too. Listen, I
Yeah.
mean, whatever works for people to get them fired up. I mean,
Right?
Yeah.
In
but
like competition mode, you're not having deep conversation with yourself on reframing, right? So it's like accessing those mantras and that really embody, you know, your spirit and the type of person you are, I think are the best way to go, you know.
But if you're not feeling anything, and if you're like, if you're in like a big competition or like a major sport event and you're not feeling anything, to me that screams that you don't care. So it's crazy, because when I still, to this day, like I'm 5, 6 years into track and field, when I'm lining up in the 100-meter, there is a split second where I'm in the blocks and I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Because this
why am
feeling sucks. Like I'm literally like, oh my God. But then the gun goes off and you're like, all right, let's fucking let's go.
Let's
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And so it's I always say that to people, like if you're not nervous or you're not scared, you're not feeling anything, excitement, then it means you don't care. And it just means that
you're not going to succeed.
You're not going to succeed. You shouldn't be there. And you need to have those feelings, because I had those feelings, you know, for the first 19 years of my life of, you know, just going through the motions and like showing up, not giving my best at practice. Of course, if it was a game, I was running through a brick wall for any coach that I had. But if it was practice, I was just like, I don't want to be here. I was complaining. And then I lost my leg. And then I'm sitting there on the sidelines with my crutches without a walking prosthetic, thinking, you know, what if I did apply myself? You know, would I be playing in one of the top Division I programs in the country? Would I have even lost my leg? So that was it for me. That's what made me realize, you know, always apply yourself 100% to whatever you do. And if you're not happy doing it, then you need to find something else that'll make you feel that sort of way.
Oh, I love that. Wow. So tell us what's next for you.
What's next? I'm currently 7 months pregnant, so that's like the big thing. Thank you. Yeah, with a baby girl, so she's due in July. So that's kind of like the main focus right now. Obviously, we have LA 2028 coming up, because I'm not retiring. I don't have that gold medal yet. I don't think I'll ever retire until I get that gold medal.
You're gonna get it.
But no, I think the major thing right now is just, I mean, I'm still training through it too. That's been the really fun thing to kind of learn about my body. It's crazy because my strength coach, every training block, tries to like reel me in a little bit, tries to like modify things. And I'm like, listen, I feel great. I feel fine. The doctor says as long as I feel fine,
you can do it.
Like,
you heard it here. All those pregnant women.
He's taking away all my like Olympic style lifts. And I'm like, listen, I can do cleans. I can do back squats. I can do deadlifts. As long as it's not messing with my belly, I'm good to go. And then I'm still running. I'm just, obviously nothing is, you know, in my head PRs right now. I'm not trying to show, I'm just trying to maintain, but it's also just like the sanity of it. Like, this is my job. And if I don't train, what else am I going to be doing with my day? I need to do that so that I can feel great. But no, we're very excited. It's crazy. And it's crazy that I'm having a baby girl and, you know, qualifying for LA. Hopefully she'll be in the crowd as well, being able to to see her
Aw.
mom compete. I think that'll be extremely special. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
That's amazing. Well, I want to give you one last question or an opportunity to talk about your organization and give a little shout out to that for those that don't know the work
Yeah.
that you do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like I was saying, specialized prosthetics like running blades are very expensive. Insurance companies will not cover them. I myself had received 3 different specialized prosthetics from 3 different incredible foundations, and seeing the work that those foundations do for other amputees, that's really, it really inspired me and it resonated with me, and it made me realize this is something I wanted to do with my life. This is something that I needed to do with my life. I needed to give back all the support and helping hands that I received and portray the message out to the world that if I can do this, then 100% so can anybody else. And I am very fortunate because I have an incredible family. I have an incredible mother who basically runs the foundation, but they helped me start the Born to Run Foundation. And it focuses on donating specialized prosthetics to amputees that just want to live a fun and fulfilling life, whether it be playing sports, being active, or just going to the beach with their friends and they need a waterproof prosthetic. For us and for me, it's always amazing to be able to gift a prosthetic leg or arm to an amputee, because now I get to be kind of a part of their story. But just seeing what they do with the prosthetic leg is always so inspiring to me, and it's amazing to be a part of, just to kind of see the reactions, be in that inner circle, and just create that community within the foundation. So if people are going through a difficult time, they have people to reach out to.
Sure.
It's huge for the disabled community, and that's what I learned, quickly becoming an amputee, is how amazing this community is. And then when I started competing in track and field, the Paralympic track and field community, amazing. I mean, when I went to my first track meet, it was just like a breath of fresh air because everybody is disabled. Everybody kind of understands the hard work it takes to get to that competition. And, you don't have everybody just staring at you because you look different. And now it's crazy because usually during my competition cycle, I mean, we're literally competing in California at all the college track and field meets, and they're all open meets. And I'm always usually the only one as an above the knee amputee competing in one heat or in one heat of jumping. So it's always something that's like, okay, I love this though. Like I love being out here with everybody else, competing alongside them. Yes, I'm getting my ass kicked, but it's still an awesome experience to be able to see other people, to see other people, being inspired by me. But I never view it as that. I just view it as an opportunity for the world to realize, how badass us disabled athletes really are.
Well, you're giving such a cool lens for everybody to see that community and the beauty in it. So we appreciate you for that.
It's www.theborntorunfoundation.org.
Okay, and we'll link it.
Yeah.
When we put out the
100%.
podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, we actually we get bibs every year for the Boston Marathon. So we get to go. You got to give me some tips because I have to eventually run this marathon. I mean, it's going to be after I retire from track and field, but
yeah, my number 1 tip is stop every mile and have a beer.
That's a great one. I love that.
Someone did that once, and I was like, that looks so much fun, and I would never ever finish.
Oh my God, I would literally die. I would throw up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. You gave our listeners like the most amazing tips I think we've heard in a long time. So
yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, good luck with you and the baby. Looking forward to following you and the story. So join us next time on Next Play for another athlete and more stories, success stories. Between now and then, you can check us out at www.puresportsmindset.com or on our socials at Pure Sports Mindset.